confusion will be interesting as well. Where the fuck did this go? In stream. We're live. Shit. What did that happen?
You're kidding me, right?
I didn't know I hit the button. We are apparently here. Enjoying thorough confusion, the fact that we don't know how things are working today.
Yes, that just happened.
Yeah, I did not know I had hit live, so thank God we didn't say anything embarrassing. Well, anyway, hello everybody.
You mean like the fact that we're both clinically handicapped when it comes to computer equipment?
There's a button. All I ever wanted was my Nokia 6210. It was perfect technology and has gone downhill ever since. Like, who needs this crap anyway?
We're going to have a good show, guys. It's going to be magical.
It has been a very long, very, very long week with very little sleep. And I desperately need to go away so I can sleep somewhere soon. Anyway, speaking of the last 800 comments on that little last system we just went while Machine is running around trying to make technology work.
Sorry, you're talking to the wrong guy.
I'm crossing fingers here. I figured the good Lord will intervene and fix this problem. What do we want to show you? Is the Machine want to show you the update to the museum. But as you can see, someone going through one of the tunnel systems, and a lot of times we know what was made there. And then there's others where we don't really know what they made underground in these factories. And then like this one, if we know what they made, it's easier to piece together what was what and where. On this one, there wasn't even a line drawing of the tunnel system. There's nothing. So I had to go through it, all the different videos of all different angles to try to draw a map, to just have some sort of overview over these tunnels. And I got the loading part wrong, because that whole front loading section, there's more to that than I put in my map. And there's also more to the tunnels and the rooms adjacent to them, especially in that direction of the loading bay than I put in the map. But I if we can ever go back, I want to do it again and just redo the map and do it right, not for any particular reason other than I want to. But if we don't know, hey, Norway, if we don't know what was made in these tunnel systems, then it becomes interesting because, well, if we completely blank, then it just becomes a guessing game and then they can do anything. But usually we have an idea. And on this particular system, there were like 5 or 6 indications that had been noted that it was this, or it was that, or it was that, or that. And the most likely one is the one with Shooter and Rank, that they were making gearbox parts for airplane engines. But looking at those little rooms, it just didn't. I thought it was a great map. It's just not entirely accurate. Those little rooms just seem so. What would you make in there? You're facing the door. You're sitting in a little room with little walls on each side. If whatever you're making, you'd have to pull it out of there, turn around, hand it over, pass it on through the door. And that doesn't seem like something you do with gearbox parts. It seemed like something you'd be doing on an assembly line. So it's just a weird layout all throughout. But I think that's what I'm going to do in some of the tunnel systems we do from now. I'm going to bring up either, if I can find World War II footage or contemporary footage or footage from today of how the process looks that I can find that was made in that tunnel. So we can say, well, this is what it makes to make liquid oxygen or hydrogen today. This is what they made in this tunnel. If we know that, I know a couple of really large tunnels where they made liquid hydrogen. That were really, really interesting. So I'm going to try to bring up contemporary footage of that just so you guys have a comparison, because it's great and fun to walk through these places, but to show you what it also looks like. I think that's what I'm going to try to do, and just have a plan. Anyway,
I mean, that's not a bad idea.
That's what I thought. No. It's like because of, right?
Yeah, I think it's a much better idea than what traditionally
context.
Yeah. And
It's
with,
like,
I mean, with cats, with, I don't think there was anything remotely like extreme, kaboom like explosive,
no,
because there's no countermeasures,
no.
no safety protocol or anything.
That's
So
why I could see a bunch of people pressing bullets,
right.
but and actually that's the only thing I could sort of see in little rooms like that. People sitting with small fucking manual bullet presses, just squeezing them out. It seemed insanely cumbersome, but hey, ends justify the means. You're not getting bombed by the 8th Air Force, and you may squeeze out a bit fewer bullets, but you're still squeezing them out. Um,
Right, and it's plausible in the effect that even in that size of workstation, you might have a few pounds of powder at a time. So it's
yeah,
not like you're going to create a chain reaction if one of them accidentally goes kaboom.
exactly. And even if one guy in a little stall gets his face blown off, it's just him.
Right.
I mean, you got to look at the bigger picture.
Well, the bigger picture is they would have just shoved him off to the side and stuck the next guy in the seat.
Exactly. I mean, gets his restocking fee. Well, we're bringing him back. He's broken. His head is missing. Oh, speaking of heads that are missing, did you see the thing in Chicago?
Yes.
What the hell? Well, I mean, it's not like it's a surprise because that's just how some cultures they deal with things. But since when why is there no media outcry on this? Is this just every day now? People
It
just
doesn't.
hack the heads of their underlings?
Yeah. It doesn't fit their narrative of how this is a you
Diversity
know
is our strength.
it's everybody's welcome here because we're a sanctuary. It doesn't matter your status or whatever. So
Yeah,
this is what they
I mean,
think. They don't. And
there
remember,
are certain
this person spent 5 years in a mental hospital. They let her out and she cuts off a child's head.
well, hey, are we talking about the same one?
There was
Okay,
two.
I guess it is so normal because we're not talking about the same one. Fuck me. Um, so I'm talking about the Muslim guy at the hotel that cut the head of the maid who screwed up.
Yep.
That's one.
Yeah,
Oh, that's one.
that's a different one.
That's a different one. Okay, so I guess it's a normal occurrence that people have their heads cut off now. That's just the modern world we live in. But meanwhile, Trump is rebuilding the White House. Okay. Uh, it's good the media have their priorities straight.
Well, you screw up even when CNBC calls out your governor. The governor's, oh, our crime rates have went down, our murder rates are down. He's like, no, actually, you lead the country.
Yeah,
He's like,
right.
no, that's not right. They've went down. They've been cut in half. He goes, well, I'd hate to see what it was before then because you're leading the country at 17.6%.
Oh, and Darcy, it's interesting. Trump was looking for the Nixon papers. When I heard he was going to rebuild or remodel the White House, my only thought is, somebody wants to open up the walls to see what's in there. But
Yeah, from 1942 on, yeah.
do it on, yeah. I mean, it is not as interesting as if you think about, what's under the White House.
Yep.
Now, I would imagine that they are spending a little bit of this time remodeling, re-safetying the bunker and other things, probably making them EMP proof, stuff like that. I
Yep.
mean, right?
One big Faraday cage.
Exactly, because the bunker was built during World War II. I would imagine that would come up with a little bit of upgrade need now. Not a
Yep.
bad idea. It's not a bad. I think I always thought there's a dual reason for this.
Uh, I think there's definitely more than one reason. One being, I won't say exactly how I would phrase it, but swing and wang. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
like
Oh,
this is America, baby. Here's our grand ballroom.
I mean,
But
I'm okay with that. And considering that lovely, completely potato head governor I have in my state have uh, his remodel of the state capitol so
Mr.
far has
Espresso
cost.
Hands.
Uh-huh.
That's all. Every
Yeah.
time you watch a press conference, you know, what is with
Oh, just
him?
tie him to a pole and give him a cigarette. Um, his remodel of the California state's Capitol building has cost $1 billion. Obviously, is overtime and budget. And guess who's paying for that? Not his friends and donors, but I am, and all the other taxpayers are. So the Trump is spending his own money and donors' money rebuilding the White House a wing. So what? I got no problem with that. Every other president have done theirs. I mean, Biden had an auto pen room installed, so I mean, there's been
Well, you know, since the
basketball court built in there. I mean, thank
since
you.
the beginning of the White House, they've it's been exponential. Like almost every other president has done some sort of major renovation to the property. I
And
mean, they
everybody
didn't
talks
even
about marketing.
blink and yeah, but they didn't even blink an eye when Obama said, "You know what? I want a $371 million basketball court."
Yeah. And what did the taxpayer get out of that for those 300 million? So no, just
Yeah, have
knock
you
it
played
off.
basketball there? I haven't played basketball there. I mean,
I don't
we're
know
not
how to
even
play
allowed near it. So,
I'm a short white guy. I don't play basketball.
well, we can't jump. We can dribble and make ourselves look foolish. But
We can, especially in those bars. But anyway, um, hey, I made height and weight in the guard for the first time in my entire life last week.
how?
I have, I don't know. Well, actually, I sort of do know. It must have been something to do with all the stretching I've done. First of all, I'm down to 214, and I'm always I'm hovering around 220. So 214. Don't know how that happened, but I also grew an inch, which I thought is a pretty neat trick for a man my age.
Yeah, usually we go the opposite direction. Before I said this before, and I'll say it 1,000 times over. The BMI for the military is wildly unrealistic. One, it did not take into account a 5'6" redneck with shoulders as big as a Mack truck. It did not. I mean, up to a point to where when I entered, and that was when I was still, weightlifting, and all that good stuff and running. And I went in and they're like, "Oh, well, he's too heavy for, so we're going to put him as a diet recruit." They did this to me. And, a couple weeks in, the battalion captain comes in and he's checking all the diet recruits, and he walks up to me and he goes like this, he's like, he looks at the drill instructor and goes, "Why in the hell is this man on diet?" And, drill instructor's like, "Well, he doesn't make the height and weight requirement." He goes, and he said it. He goes, "Look at the size of the dude's legs. Look at the size." He goes, his neck has swallowed his head. His traps are massive. He goes, "Look at the size of this dude." And he goes, "Go get me the pinchers, for the body fat percentage." Yeah. He took one pinch at my side, and he looks at the drill instructor, goes, "Get him off a diet right now." They're like, "What?" He goes, in 4 days, we got to go on, we're going on a very, very long march. I said, he's like, "That'll kill him." He's like, "He has no body fat."
So, I mean, right? I mean, it's been ridiculous. We're going to like Korean War height weight standards in a world where everybody works out. And I always get pinched and taped too. So maybe we're actually getting it. Just catching up on the chat stuff going on. Yes, the Democrat candidate with the SS tattoo. Yes. Could you imagine if Hexith had a German tattoo or an eagle or something? But there's a Democrat.
He has a Catholic cross on him, and they're like, "Hey, that's really bad. That's a white supremacist thing." I'm like, that chapel that's right across the street from the White House. What do you think its floor is? But I seen that. Like, he had to. Well, and like you said, it's not the death's head skull that was from World War I. You can tell that's definitively the death's head skull from World War II.
Oh, he admitted it.
Yeah,
he goes on talk shows and takes his shirt off. Look, I no longer have my Nazi tattoo. Like, okay, Well, thank you for making whatever case that was. I mean, these
Yeah,
people are
you're right.
insane. Look, I'm no
But
longer
yet,
a Nazi. I was just drinking that day.
oh, it's no different than somebody seeing the Edelweiss on my arm.
I
You
knew
know,
dudes that couldn't get in because they had a Maltese cross tattoo. Gosh, a biker gang. Like, no, it's not.
right?
Hang on for a minute. I saw somebody who said something interesting about their. If I could get back up on the gold color.
Yeah, I was
So you
reading.
know, I had a Grace teacher that had a wrench over 15 years ago about. Tell me more. Um, oh, speaking of telling me on German nukes, since that is what we're talking, I do have German
Mhm.
Luftwaffe Eagle and bent across on my chest. William, no problem at all. You can have your blood group tattooed on your arm. I wouldn't care. Uh, it's like this. Actually,
I've got
I
things
know
tattooed under
I
my
don't
arm.
find
That's
it.
not.
You'll find it hilarious that there's how can I say that without getting anybody in trouble? Um, there's a certain place in America that facilitates a lot of entertainment, and a lot of the people that do the heavy lifting in these facilities that facilitates entertainment for America, that is mostly run by Jewish businessmen. The people who do the heavy lifting belongs to a outlaw motorcycle gang, possibly, and most of them have World War II Germanic era tattoos.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm.
maybe.
Yeah.
It
Hmm.
could also just be a movie plot. And which
What?
is great when they take their shirts off and walk around in the summer and everyone goes, woo, woo. Yeah, who are you going to complain to?
Oh no! Well, the confusion that was with my Edelweiss, somebody actually asked about it, and I'm like, well, that's a symbol of my people. It's been a
England
symbol of my
Biker
people
Club.
for and I didn't get to finish my comment. They're like, no, it's not. That's not, and that, and started going with the World War II thing, and they're like, well, it's the Great White Flower. I'm like, hey, can I ask you a question? Like, yes. What color is the flower? And they got quiet. They just stared at me. I'm like, what color is the flower? I was like, it's white, isn't it? Because it grows up in the Alps.
It's Edelweiss.
It's like, yes, it's a symbol of purity and bravery and love for my people for centuries. So,
Yes.
and it still is to
And
this day. So,
I looked for one when we were there. I guess they only grow at a certain time of year and couldn't find. I found the blue flower.
you were almost about peak season, though. You should have been accidentally running into them.
I mean, I was also in a place where there's rock on rock on rock. So I was looking for them because I was kind of hoping I could grab one. Um, Text Mars was interesting.
I got one. It's
Um,
permanent.
well, good. I'm not going to take that from you.
Well, if you do, then that's going to be a whole other episode of what happens. Yeah, you know where I'm going with that. No, I'm not going to finish
Yeah.
the
Yeah. um, so how is the museum going? And how are we doing on this glorious presentation with your camera?
the presentation with the camera is still functioning, and that's about as far as I've gotten. It will not let me get into the settings to change anything unless I go through OBS, and I don't want to crash the system by running OBS and StreamYard. So, um, the museum's going a little bit slow. This year was not great. I could not get a whole lot of funding up to necessarily add more to it, but I did get to add a few things, and some of the things are pretty awesome. Uh, Before I even start with that, I need to thank a few people that actually did donate and help out with the museum to get these items. A couple of them said that they don't want the recognition, so I won't even say their names. One of them is actually in the chat room here. If she wants to acknowledge that she was a part of it, go for it.
I
But
mean,
well, wait a minute.
there's no,
What was that? What was that? Did I miss that? What was that comment that you just highlighted?
that one.
It went away. Well, what do you know?
That was the one. Well, that is
Oh,
also
gee.
interesting. Yes, set it up.
Yeah, that caught me off guard because I only saw part of it. I'm like, wait a minute, it's not a Nazi flower. It was not a Nazi flower, and even in World War II, it was still the mark of bravery and was not necessarily attributed
I think
to.
we're going a little bit of sarcasm on that one.
Yes, it was. I caught it after I like I said, I only saw the first part. I'm like, excuse me, but like we're about to have another another incident, but but anyhow, like I said, I picked up a few things. Some of the things are just small. I did get a chance to finally replace one thing that was in the collection, which was a World War I tin. And it's actually complete minus one thing. And good Lord, that lid is still solid. It still seals real good. But the only thing it's missing is actually the spoon.
Well, I found a spoon from Russian factory #1 in one Russian location. I can give you a spoon, but this is not this is a wartime spoon. I'll see if I can find one on Battlefield for you.
Yep. Well, and the reason why I picked this one in particular up too is it actually does have initials carved into the bottom, and I'm running through a database.
Any idea who yet?
So far, no. I've narrowed it down to about 3,000 or 4,000.
Oh, good. Let's start making phone calls.
Yeah,
Did you have granddad?
Still getting a little bit down there, but I'm trying. But I wanted to add it back because the basis of Shadows of Combat Museum is the human aspect of war. So what's more human than something like this? But I mean, there's obviously other things in the museum, like this wonderful guy here.
What's that? 37.
I'll ask the people in the chat, what do you think this is before I show the bottom? It's obviously a rather large rifled shell, but yeah, I'll let the people in the chat throw on some guesses before I actually start talking about it. We'll see what they come up with.
60. And come on, William.
It's definitely not a 60.
You're seeing things through the rearview mirror. And yes, there's last Nazi secret news.
Yep, and well, like I said, it might be a pencil holder. It will be now, and it's definitely not a 50. One of them said 40. Yes, it is a 40. It's a 40 millimeter, but what is it? And while I'm waiting on that, I picked up something actually from. What's that?
That would have to be Bofors, then, wouldn't it?
Yes, it is.
And T-Bird beat me to that by like 3 seconds because I'm tired and I can't speak. So speak that fast, so I'll give him the point.
Yeah, it is in fact a Bofors. It was made in 44, and this one was actually surprisingly brought back by a he was not the big red one, but he was part of the maintenance crew for that, and he sent it along a couple other things back as story was told with this item that he had actually fired the Bofors itself, and he wanted to keep something of it. But the cannon itself, what was the I'm trying to remember when it started out. Give me a second here. I want to say actually in 1920s, wasn't it? The first variants of that came out in like the 1920s, 1930s.
Air raid?
I think so.
The first air raid or the first air raid gun?
No, the first Bofors.
First Bofors.
Yeah, the Swedish monster. I'm wanting to say it came out in the early 30s, but of course we used it a lot, especially the single barrel variant. Did a lot of work in the Pacific Theater. It took down a lot of kamikazes, but it was used as anti-equipment, anti-personnel in even in Normandy and
And
stuff.
everybody used it. The Germans owned shares in Bofors during the war. It was designed in 1930.
Okay, I knew
Yeah.
I was close. I wasn't going to be perfect. I didn't write it down or bring notes up or nothing. So
Yeah, no, yeah, no. The Germans had shares in Bofors. They actually believe they owned quite a bit of the company, which is kind of funny because they sold to everybody. Everybody had Bofors. The Germans used them too.
yep.
Exactly, they
Well,
did.
and they were said that they were. I mean, they were a great weapon platform. I mean, those things were just flat
Yes,
out evil. I mean, nothing said "screw you" and everybody behind you for the next 3 miles, like the Bofors firing at you.
I have a 5-inch Navy gun brass casing sitting in Europe that I one day will get here. And yes, polishing that damn thing when I was a kid too was. Um, I'm assuming if I ever get that damn thing over, there's going to be some sort of an auto polish thing buffer instead because I'll be Ardennes Fury. Oh yes,
You get that right,
yes.
Bert.
I was younger. I needed the money for college. Uh,
Yeah. I was young and I needed the money. We're not going to go into that particular direction. Uh, okay, Rocky.
like,
Sorry.
hey,
Yeah,
I have
yeah,
sympathy for single mothers. Strippers need love too. We were all there once. Uh,
you kidding me? I'm there now.
well, I mean, come on, Magic Mike, go out there and make a little.
I got to for these expensive hobbies, like having a museum.
I know. I'm gathering stuff that'll eventually go into your museum because my bookshelves are starting to weigh down. Although it's kind of cool. I actually did find I thought it's kind of great that I got a couple of Prussian helmets that I never knew they were actually leather. I actually even the original ones I always thought there was a metal core, but the early
No.
ones were all hardened leather, which
Yeah.
well it's
That's because they were for decoration only.
there's a signaling. What unit are you?
Well, there just kind of paraphrasing a comment that I seen from a World War One German, because he was there at the early onset of the war, and he goes, "Imagine running down the trenches, and all of a sudden the pickle help, the help just disappears." he's like, "Nothing pucker, like not a direct quote, but he said nothing puckers up the butthole faster when the top of your fucking spike just goes." You're like, "Wait, what?"
I mean, they weren't attached particularly well, but yeah, he kind of
No.
beat it in. I was thinking about riding. Started riding my motorcycle wearing my pickle helmet just to see how long before somebody complains.
Yeah,
I mean,
some idiot's
local
gonna yell
kids,
Nazi, you know that,
yeah, what the hell?
because they don't know any better. Which we do have one of those. We remember we finally figured out the badge, being the Fest Battalion.
Oh, I got to go back to the Alps again. Actually, they weren't silly helmets. There was a really good reason for them because it was all about being able to pick out on the battlefield who is who and what units they are because all of them had different insignia and shape. And if you watch my episode on the pickle helmets, you will know that. You will know that.
Well, I could always bring mine over. It's
It's like
20 feet behind me.
I'm not. I'm actually not at the office. And on was it Halloween on Friday?
Yes,
It is.
but I'm going the other route for Halloween.
I mean, that's between you and the missus.
Sometimes everybody likes a good pegging.
The Chilean military, they still use that.
I'm sorry, I couldn't even keep a straight face trying to say that. All right, moving right along.
It is Sleepy Sunday. Now I know how Jeff buys cars feels sometimes. Yeah, no, the Chilean was it military? They took over all the SS insignias, which is actually really interesting. The braids, the epaulets, the everything. helmets.
I'll grab. I'm gonna sneak over. I'm gonna go ahead and grab the pickle helm off the shelf.
Well, now that we're talking about it, I wish I should have brought mine. I was planning on wearing mine to the office for Halloween, but since I'm not here, terrible, terrible. Anyway, I thought there was. Oh yes, last night's a secret. There is a couple of things new, and I have finally translated all of Grothmann, Himmler's adjutant's post-war statements, his interviews. That was all in different German, different documents. I had them all compiled and I have them all translated. So I figured we're going to have to do an episode where we go over all of Grothmann's statements because he was still the highest ranking German that would speak out honestly about everything he saw about Kammler, about the nuclear weapons, and if you extrapolate from what he said, he would testify to 4 separate individual nuclear devices being tested, and you would think he would know. And he had some interesting insight because he was around Himmler to the very last. So that's I'm going to go over, and for you guys on Patreon, I'm just probably going to upload the translated document so you can actually read it because I feel I'm not giving you guys back enough. What you got?
All right. Well, I went ahead and grabbed it. Like I said, this one was attributed to the Fest Battalion and most likely probably closer to Eastern Front.
This is the heart, right?
Yeah.
That's a metal one.
No.
That's also
leather.
That's leather.
Yep.
Wow, and it survived.
Barely.
Very nice brim too. That's very.
I mean, it's obviously there's nothing left of the main line or nothing like that, but
yeah, no.
This was a bring back that I had picked up last year, and the guy had his his father had it in his collection. He had it in his collection, and the family decided they didn't want any of the collection.
Yeah. Oh, hello, Oregon. Bradshaw Studios are here. Hello. Yeah, no, we actually have a military show out here a couple of weeks from now. I guess I should go. It's like 40 minutes drive. That seems really far. It's like I don't sleep enough. I really haven't slept much since I got back to town.
Well, I did try to get you to come up to to Fresno when I was there. So.
Oh yeah, that's so right. Do a live stream from the military show.
Not a bad idea.
I could do that. That's a good reason. That sounds interesting. I wonder if they have any issues with that. You know what? I will. Now that you put it that way, I will reach out to them. And yeah, okay. Because the German stuff is generally just cooler and it's harder to come by, and it was designed by interesting designers. I mean, why don't you ask Steven Spielberg? He's the biggest collector of World War II German memorabilia and clothing of anybody. Not that he's ever going to show it to you.
Well, and since we're speaking of helmets, we went that direction here. Everybody by now has seen at least an MK2 Brody, right?
Soon.
I would hope that everybody, at least in the chat, has seen what an MK2 Brody is. This one in particular has an interesting history, though. This one came from Israel, actually, and was most likely used all the way up into the 60s. And due to it having, because I know somebody's going to say, well, it has green paint instead of the sand color. Well, it has the sand color too. It was most likely probably repurposed yet again and used in the north where, obviously they have much greener areas in Israel. But
so it was an Africa Corps. No, Africa Corps British. It was Egypt.
Right.
It came over from Egypt. It wasn't a European bring to Israel. It was from Egypt from that campaign.
Yeah. More than likely, when it was picked up, I would say when it was sent over, it probably could have been in a stockpile in one of the Middle Eastern countries and just kind of made its way over and then repurposed yet again. But just the other day I was actually able to track this down and make 100% sure that it's what it is, because we do that. We don't just throw things in there and be like, yeah, this is what we were told. The liner, the strap, everything fits exactly with the 50s and the 60s.
And the British were heavily represented in Palestine before before and after World War II. So it's not unlikely they left a bunch of stockpiles there and then just left it to this Israel, and they reused it. I mean, that's most of everything Israel defended themselves with post World War II or World War II equipment.
Right.
So it makes perfect sense for that. Like I said, they also had a bunch of Sturmgeschütz that they had. No, that's where the Egyptians had a bunch of Sturmgeschütz they had refurbished, and the Israelis had a bunch of Fireflies.
Yeah.
It's very interesting what went there. And there's three after the 7-Day War. There was 3 of the upgraded Sturmgeschützes that went to Syria, where they then sat. So I have no idea what left for them now, and I'm not going to go look for them. But if anybody is in Syria is out there, and would you find one of those Stugs and just ship it in the mail? You can do it COD. That's okay.
Well, and yeah, I would like to do that if you could. I mean, I promise we'll take really good care of it.
Yes, I mean, better. It'll live longer than if it stays in Syria, although it probably won't rust there. And the Spitfire, and then the weird Messerschmitt, the Frankenschmitt.
What about a Martyr?
I'll tell you more. I don't know. Let's go.
I found a Martyr. I found a Martyr for sale, actually.
Really?
Yeah. It's on the other side of our country, but there is a Martyr for sale.
Oh, how much?
A considerable amount.
I mean, are we under 100,000?
No. They want a bit more. They want a bit more for it. We can, you know what? That's the crazy thing, is we can find Shermans and stuff like that, even some that are already in running order for under 100 grand.
Yeah, I mean, they used to be, or T-34 for 30 or 20.
Yeah.
But yeah, now you can buy a Tiger II turret starting at 1.5 million euros.
Really?
And you can, and depending on the percentage, there's a guy in Germany, he rebuilds German tanks. So depending on what are the percentages of original parts is where the price is. But you can get a Panzer IV or a Tiger tank for 10 million euros. It gets a little cheaper if you're down to under 30% of original parts. I'm like, why don't we just build one from scratch? It's fine.
Well, I'm still trying to find me the correct, at least a remotely correct small dozer, because I have the plans to build the Polish tankette. I actually have the plans. So I'll build me a tankette.
What boat dozer would you build it on, though?
It doesn't really matter. The ones that are closest to it are like I want to say what was it? The old
yes.
The old Caterpillar. Because the only thing I'd have to change on is the track. I'd have to bring the track in a little bit because they were a little more narrow.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I will say there's a guy in Poland. He builds them.
I seen that.
I met him and his lovely family. They're awesome people. Henmek, and I'm going to go out there, and they build replica weapons for museums and trains and things. Really cool people. They thought we went to a fair in Poland, and they thought they were going to be really cute and give me something that's a Polish delicacy. I don't know if that really went to America, but you have like fresh bread, and then you put lard with little crunchy things in it, but it's basically lard. And they're like, oh, you're gonna like this, and I grew up with that. That's awesome. This is why I eat all of it.
I can feel my
But
cholesterol climbing.
oh, you would. It was just it's priceless. Hang on for a second.
And I just remembered I was talking about where the origins of that Israeli helmet.
Yeah.
There was a big stockpile of them found in Palestine and actually on the outer edges of Egypt. And the paint, I'm wanting to say, the green, the northern. Sorry, I'm not an expert on necessarily Israeli land, but I believe it was Mount Carmel, the area where that helmet was actually wore.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, also there's a lot of STGs. Speaking of handle STG, there's a lot of the Syrians were still fighting their civil war. Whether you see a dude run through the screen firing an STG at somebody, just this year.
It makes you want to tackle him. It does. Yes. It makes you want to tackle him. Take that one and like, here's an M16 or an AK. Yeah. We're taking this.
Just send me that fucking thing.
I'll send you the issued. I don't give a shit.
I know. Like, no, I would take a Franken pencil any day, but I will talk to the guys at Handmake and see how they do on that, because I want to go out and make a video from them, because replica weapons are interesting. And I always wanted to set up a little shop and do replica weapons, even if through 3D printing, for all the museums who doesn't have any.
Yeah.
And I think even if it might not be metal, and it won't fire a blank, but at least it will look right in the right position, and it won't be expensive, because none of them have any money. Right. So, there's only one company left in the world that makes 792 short, as far as I remember. And I don't know.
No, there's actually another company that makes small batch, but don't ask me who it is. It's been a while since I've looked at obscure ammunition.
I don't have one, so I don't have to worry about it. Oh, the FGs, yeah.
You don't have one of these either.
Who benefits from them? Well, the bankers, of course. The bankers and some of the other politicians. No, actually, I have some air raid videos I was gonna send you at some point from Ukraine, like AA guns going off. And
well, speaking of sending things from Ukraine, have we ever conned our dear friends, the Andrews, into signing a flag for the museum?
For the one Andrew, yes. The other Andrew, I'm currently mad at.
Which one?
Oh, the guy that wrote the history books.
Oh, yeah, the one that got married?
Yes.
Yeah.
That one.
Okay. As long as we're on the same page.
I'm a little busy at him right now.
The other one's just too likable. There's no...
Oh, God. He's always happy and always trying to fatten me up with things. Let me see if I can actually download this from my phone, since... Come on. If this is that, or I'll just fry my phone. My phone's just
Raymond, that's because that tank was still active. It was capable of firing, and they weren't supposed to have it in a basement of a home.
Oh, details. Well, the Germans are pretty anal with these things. Well, most things. Well, everything.
Well, that's kind of our MO for everything.
Germans or us?
Well, the Germans.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, like, whoever's the people in Germany, they're just slightly less likable than they were in 1943 at this point. And I hate to put it that way, but they're just so fucking annoying.
They're kind of dickish.
They are.
I had one. What's that?
Go on. Did we ever find out what happened to those 6 ADF people that was killed in the same over 2 week span?
Nope.
And I'm like, well, 6, they're all running for ADF, well, Alternative for Deutschland. They're all running for office in the same region or 2 regions, and 6 of them died in a matter of over 2 weeks, which is just impossible. Yeah, so I mean, statistically, it is completely impossible for that many politicians from the same place to die at the same time. So
Right.
now we're like, I'm sorry, it sounds like somebody's killing politicians. It just does.
Do they know the Clintons?
Well, no, they're doing it. Oh, so this was air raid. Sorry, it's on high, but you hear the drones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's every night in Ukraine these days. But I mean, in the morning, most of that is Russian AA guns, the dual barrels, or Maxim, and it's also used 50 cals for the trades.
Yeah, I can hear the 50, and I can also hear what sounds like a oh man, what's the Russian heavy machine gun?
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called either, but which is probably that one.
Yeah.
So, but, that's the and I keep saying I don't get it. You don't come here and bullshit talk to me about peace, but why are you bombing civilian areas? Because it makes anything harder. Like, even if you want to do a negotiated set, one day you want the war to end. Either way, both sides. Russians want it to end at some point as well. You're gonna make it. What do you get out of bombing a civilian building, the houses in Lviv and Kiev, and what do you get out of it? You make everybody hate. Yeah. So.
Well, right, and and the whole thing is the Russians are trying to do what the Ukrainians have made possible, which is drone warfare. But the thing is even the Russian news has stated that when the drones do come in to Russia, that they are not hitting civilian targets, but yet the Russians are dropping them in apartment blocks, and
so it's like what, and even if you try to do what all strategic warfares have always done, which is generally nothing, it pisses people off. It makes everybody hate you, and it puts pressure on the local politicians that they to not negotiate a peace with you, because the whole thing about demoralizing, yes, all the Ukrainian wants it to end, but they don't. But overwhelmingly, they don't want it to end on any terms.
Especially on Russian terms.
Especially on Russian terms. That makes it harder for if Zelensky wanted to do some sort of peace. Yeah, but they're killing they're killing our people. They're bombing our cities. Why are we negotiating with these terrorists? And it's just it makes everything harder doing stuff like that. And there's no tactical value in it.
Well,
so I don't know what the hell the Russians are thinking.
Well, it's like, what I mean. I wrote an article on aerial bombing about this, specifically for this reason. And I mean, just the last 2 paragraphs I'll read. because the title of the last two paragraphs is Lessons Unlearned, the Principles Under Threat.
Yeah.
And I said, so here we are. We've seen the seductive yet ultimately flawed theory that bombing civilians win wars. We've watched the world try with varying degrees of success to rein in the brutality of air power with its laws, technology, and change doctrine. And we're now witnessing a frustrating, tragic regression where the very principles designed to protect the innocent are being brazenly ignored. The battle for the skies has always been complex, but the battle for humanity's soul within the conflict is even harder. The historical record is clear. While the tools of war get smarter, the decision to use them indiscriminately against civilians remains a choice. And that choice is not only morally bankrupt, but as history keeps yelling from the rooftops, almost always fails to achieve its stated aim. And yet here we are still needing to talk about it.
Yeah. It has. Gee, I wish somebody here had made a documentary specifically about strategic war and the aerial war. But it has never worked, and it's not going to work. It didn't work during World War II for any side. Everyone's just getting more and more pissed off and more bitter, and then they clench their teeth, and here we go. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It really does look like the Russians have no strategy. That like, where are you going with anything you do? And they just lost quite a bit of territory the Ukrainians took back, but that's a different story. So I saw this one.
Well, that's the art. I posted the article in the chat if anybody that wants to read it about the aerial precision bombing and stuff.
Yeah,
it's a bit long, but it's worth reading.
Now I remember, speaking of this question, I remember seeing a number of percentage of German munitions that malfunctioned, probably because of sabotage. However, I do not remember that number. Do you remember that number? Because I do actually remember that was looked into. It was something like 7 or 10%.
Yeah, it wasn't a large number, but it was enough. It was enough to kind of screw up the works, to slow things down. But it wasn't enough to
if
really
you have a
do
build of 100 and every 10 fails, you're still having a bad day. Pia, I love the Flamingo, and yes, it does look like a V1, which everybody have sort of mentioned, and most of it's made of glass fiber, except the engine part and the explosive warhead. It's actually quite brilliant. Thank you. You got that posted.
Well,
it is. Oof, you're right. I think that must be the only that is the only thing, and that's the problem that everybody that Russia has is how do we end this and say we won? There's anything left of Gaza? Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, no, that was the comment I was going to go for. Well, you're right. Look at what's left of Gaza, but after 22 years of being indiscriminately bombed, what do you want them to do?
I mean,
if
turned into missiles.
Yeah, if somebody would have launched something over our shoulders and even killed 20 or 30 Americans, we'd have been scorched earth policy on their, so.
Not good. You're actually right. And interestingly enough, the Russians are admitting this, that there was one that hit the cooling tower of one of the nuclear power plants. And everyone was been expecting to say, oh, look, the Ukrainians are attacking the power. But both the Ukrainians, of course, said they did launch at that plant. And even the Russians said, yes, it had been diverted by EV, and therefore it had hit it. It was an accident. So when the Russians even called balls and strikes, sometimes honestly, surprising.
Speaking of, I do have some Russia items up here, but I'm going to step out for just a split second. And what?
Go away. But anyway, what are we talking about again? Like I said, this has been one of those looking for a better coffee. Now, I was going to ask you all, who do I know? That's what we're going to do. Fine. Who do I know in Basel? I need somebody in Switzerland who has a camera, or at least 1080 camera on the phone, and that can swing by the IPS building and film it up and down and over and across and take some pictures and video of it. One. And do I have anybody in San Francisco in not this weekend, not this coming weekend, but the weekend after? Because I have a friend of mine, she's visiting San Francisco, and just out of safety for since she hasn't been there before, I just want to see if there's anybody who's around to be a phone call away from being over in case she gets mugged by homeless people, whatever the hell happens in San Francisco. I don't know. I haven't been there for 15 years, and I'm perfectly happy with that. So that was those two questions. And I'm back to my eternal question: who in God's name do I have in the Philippines? Because I have an enormous amount of watchers in the Philippines. I never see you in the chat. So who are you and what are you watching? Also, I may have to go to the Philippines. Well, I am going to the Philippines because there's some interesting battlefields and forts out there that I have to see.
What island?
And also the unit I am in, the 26th MOD, is the remnants of the American cavalry unit that did the last cavalry charge of any war in 1942. So I have to go see where that took place and do a little documentary on that. It's obviously for the military department. However, I figure if I'm going to do something that is that interesting, I may as well turn it into a mainstream documentary as well and stick that thing on TV. Correct. So, who do we have there? That would be the two things I had to say. Anyway, welcome back.
Well, hold on.
If I stop talking, is this working? I don't know.
Okay. We were talking about the Russians, but I've got definitely access. See, it's not just the items, it's not just, physical things like this that get us going. It's the paper goods. It's seeing the letters and the newspapers and stuff like that from back then, because it gives you a direct access to, what people were thinking.
Yeah.
And one of the particular things is, well, like I said, the newspapers and stuff. And if we can find somebody that can read Cyrillic, because unfortunately I do not.
And I would think every Russian can. How much? how much text?
Yeah. This much.
Oh, a book? A motherfucker.
Yeah, this much. This much. Well, this is a representation of 6 months of the Pravda.
Oh God! So it's newspaper articles too. It's not even pages.
It's the whole thing.
You're complicating my suggestion options here. Yeah, the Germans did have high quality control. They also over-engineered things that was easy to mess up. They'll do. Have you seen a German car lately? Oh God.
Yeah. You have no idea how excited I was to get my hands on this. My buddy Pavel finally came through for me.
It might be faster for you to just learn Russian.
Well, hey, to be honest with you, I told him, I said, hey, this is what I want. These are some of the things that are on my list. Can you get these for me? And I said, I want, copies of, and I meant like a couple newspapers, not a whole friggin' diary, of the Pravda, the Izvestia, the Trude.
Oh, we know.
I wanted stuff from that, and I was like, and if you can float them, if you can find them, I want, because they, again, they have to be originals, not, just reprints. I said, if you can find the propaganda leaflets from the political commissars.
There you go.
And he said he's got a line on some of those, but when I showed up this year, that man left his booth and come walking towards me. He saw me first, and he's sitting there just smiling. He's, comes walking me, just smiling. I'm like, what? And he goes, I got you something. I'm like, what'd you get me? He's like, come here. I'll show you. And he's like, you said you wanted the Pravda. I'm like, oh, cool. You got a couple newspapers or something? He hands me an archive book. I'm like, what? He's like, 6 months worth. All of, the back end of 1944. You're welcome. I'm like, so you're going to read this for me, right? And he goes, hell no.
No.
You're on your own.
But he also got me. There's no truth in Pravda. Don't worry. but it is a fun read. Propaganda is a fun read too. I mean, I will say that if you take a picture of the pages or the segments and just
How to get
upload the picture to Gemini or even ChatGPT and says make direct translation, it actually will do a pretty good job.
Well, the problem with that is what I need to do is I need to get an A4 scanner, one of the big laser scanners, and that's about $600.
Well, you just take pictures with the
And
phone.
yeah, it never turns out that way. I got a really good recipe for some sort of weird bread once because I scanned an item. Uh, yeah, it came out as a bread recipe, and I'm like, that's not a bread recipe because I recognize certain words just like I do, with German. I recognize certain words right away, and I'm like, that is not what that says. Um, One of the other things that he got me because like I said, I basically begged him for these, and I didn't expect him to at all bring me an archive book. And I asked him for the story. I'm like, how did you get this? You know what? He's like the newspaper. I'm like, the newspaper that actually printed the Pravda. And he goes, yeah, they were tearing down a couple of the buildings, and they said that they didn't want to move all the archives. So I begged the archivist
Oh
instead of
my God.
destroying, yeah, to slide it over to me. He's like, so you got the only one. I'm like, sweet. This is awesome.
They didn't want to move the archive. For fuck's sake.
They only moved certain parts of it, like certain years or whatever, but for the rest of it, they were like, send it out. And it was to be destroyed, and he got his hands on one, and he's like, I got a guy that wants this. And they're like, okay, well, you didn't get it from us. We didn't say anything. But one of the other things that, and by the way, I seen the comment about the translations, and that might be a possibility. One of the other things that he gave me, he's like, because our tradition now is, anytime we conclude business, of course, is vodka. So, uh, yeah, so we're the year before, and I still got the bottle. He brought, it's a little miniature bring back, but
It's like an airplane carry-on drink.
Yep. He's smuggled it back here so he could give it to me. But this time he outdid it. He gave me. I don't have it with me. It's unfortunately at my home, or you guys would love to see this because it is historically awesome. But it's a bottle holder in the shape of an artillery round, and go ahead.
I said, love it.
And it's made of white birch, just like just about everything else in Russia, because that's their thing. But what made it unique is not the shape of the shape of it, like the shell and everything else like that. The top comes off. Of course, you can put a bottle in it. But what makes it unique is where it came from. He told me what region it came from. I'm like, I'm sorry, did you just say? And he goes, and he smiled and he's like, yes. I was like, so you're telling me this came from the same factory, or at least the munitions factory that's next door to Kalashnikov? And he laughed and he goes, that's owned by Kalashnikov. I'm like, so you're telling me this came from the Kalashnikov factory?
Yeah, the
He's
Kalashnikov.
Like, yes.
He also does one that's shaped like an AK-47 that I have been looking for the longest time.
This one, I don't know if I got the photo on my phone, but I started asking more questions. I'm like, okay, that's really awesome. That's great. And I was like, but he's like, yeah, a local artisan made these for the higher ups in the factory. I was like, so this thing is even rare in Russia. And he goes, yeah. I'm like, and you're giving this thing to me? And he goes, yep. He's like, open it. And there was an original bottle of white birch vodka, the silver, white birch silver. Which, yes, I've already cracked open. I couldn't resist. He made me do it.
Obviously. I wanted to get a couple of those bottles of the Ukrainian vodka with the battleship on the front, with the guy flipping off the battleship.
Yes.
So I thought that was pretty damn iconic. I could not find them anywhere. Don't even tell me you have one. Yeah, one of those. Yeah, on the bottle. Yeah, I really wanted one of those bottles because I got one and I gave it to Roger, which was probably a stupid thing to do because Roger doesn't drink.
Yeah, you
So
didn't even give it to me. That's kind of, man, that hurts.
I wanted to get some and bring back here because I figured that's sort of, yeah, up there, the Adolf gun. Um, oh, that's cool. Like it.
Yeah, that's let's see, that's the front.
Eh, eh.
And then I mean, dude, even the bottom has the primer. I'm not kidding.
Oh, that's cool.
But
I mean, stuff like that. I love stuff like that. Like scrimshaw and trench art stuff like that. I love that too. I'm
that's
actually on. Of course, I think I do. I don't drink much either. So, I
that's
was
fine. I drink
actually
enough for the both of us.
good. Marcus out in he has the outdoors museum out in Germany in Konz, and they put up a little shop where they're selling military stuff and little things and blankets and helmets. And I'm going to try to see if I can get him. There's a place I know in Verdun that sells trench art that they have found. They have a lot of it, so I'm going to try to see if I can get a little bit of that and bring some of it back here, maybe because it'll be kind of fun. We don't have an official shop yet, but one day we'll have that maybe.
The only thing I have when it comes to trench art necessarily is I have an ashtray that's made from a 105, and I know the guy that it came from, so it's not like one that somebody just cut down and threw into an antique shop or something like that and said, hey, it's original. It really
So
is. He made it himself. Um, but what else is back there? I got a couple French shell from Verdun.
you have a nice scrimshaw one. I did find out on the way out from of Ukraine last time that I can keep the bottom of an exploded 123 tank shell that cooked off. So there's basically just the bottom, and then there's like tassel on the side because the shell blew up. And I thought that would be a really cool cigar ashtray. But I wasn't sure if I could bring it out because back in the day there was always problems bringing out anything from Ukraine that was made of metal. But today, if it doesn't explode or fire things, they don't care. So I'm fine. So I can bring it back home.
Yeah, I heard that too, and I got a list.
Yeah, of course you are. Yes. Lonnie Littleton got here. Wow. Um, there's a homeless person with a cape. That's not troubling. Oh well.
It's not me, I swear. I'm sitting right here, losing my lung.
Oh yeah. Do we have anybody that's automotive reupholstery? Do we have a paint shop? I need my car painted. I decided I'm not going to sell it because all new cars are shit. So I'm just going to keep my old one.
I paint my own
Car?
I do. I paint my own. There are advantages to being an ADHD redneck.
Don't say that. I'm going to fucking drive up to you and leave my car and paint that.
We'd have it painted into a different color in 3 days.
That's the problem. Then you get to keep it. I'm coming on the 500,000 mile mark.
I would kind of feel dirty though with the whole having a Mercedes in the building though, because I made fun of those at great length.
Yeah, but
German
it's an old
taxi
Mercedes,
cabs.
so it might even have been made in Germany.
Oh,
He doesn't have a booth. He just duct tapes up a bunch of plastic around the tree outside. Am I right?
Close enough.
Close
Actually, I'm not kidding. Behind me, what I did was the center bay, where right behind the flags. The center bay, what I did was I actually hooked plastic up to the ceiling, and there's actually a ceiling vent, a 2-stage fan that I put up there, and that's how I actually painted it. I painted my truck in there. I painted the beast behind me. Did a few
All right. So I may drive my car up there one day. God, this one's
bring me an engine. We'll put a new one in it.
No, the engine's good. It's the old Benz. It'll run. That thing will run forever. It's just starting to look tired. Well,
Hey, like I said, not good. I'm an ADHD fueled redneck. Okay, so everything I do is usually made by hand. The only vehicle that I have ever painted in a booth, and I'm talking a legit booth, was my Fiero when it got trashed in the tornado. I still own the car, but I haven't fixed it yet. It's sitting in storage. And let's see what else we got
question
here.
for you.
Yeah. What brand of HPLP? I've got a couple different ones actually. I used to have Iowata, but I've got a DeVilbiss and oh shit, what's the other one? I don't remember, but I got a couple different ones, and I've got pressure pot guns. I've got gravity fed. I got a few things laying around, but one of the most important one to me is one I don't even use anymore. It was my grandfather's, and it's a very old DeVilbiss. I did when I repainted the beast behind me that he built. The primer coat and everything was done with that gun because I wanted it to still be done with equipment that he had used. I just used a modern gun to sling the paint itself.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about OD green. Somebody mentioned OD green. It's funny, but I can't remember why. I think we were doing some relation to a movie. I went to Home Depot. No, not Home Depot. Yeah, Home Depot, to the paint mixing section. And so I need a gallon or whatever of OD green paint. It's like, what is that? OD green. Like, never heard of it. You can't just go get. Oh, I need a paint code. Like, it's like the most
that is
sold.
The paint code.
It's like, what do you want? Man? It's like olive drab green. Come on. They had no idea, but yeah, very disheartening. But so Harley Davidson got a new chairman.
Just in time to usher in the end of the brand.
Well, the whole looking at hey, I was reading out here and there. Bunker. Ooh, you found a bunker. Someone found a bunker. Outstanding. Tell us more about the bunker. What was I saying? What was I saying? I got distracted by bunkers. Oh, Harley, right. I am so tired.
And I'm the one with ADHD. Come on.
Right. No, his specialty is building up companies to sell them.
That's what I figured.
Right. But to build it up, well, I have no problem with him selling Harley Davidson. It can only do better in anybody else's hands as long as it's sold to an American. Who gives a crap? If it's sold to the Chinese, that's it. Done. Over. Goodbye. I don't actually think the Chinese will want it. But for him to build up the brand value, well, they actually have to start making sound decisions for a while. So that in itself will be a very interesting experiment in partial reality. An Indian was just sold. And the interesting thing is, it is the stepson of a friend of mine who bought it. She told me last week, and I'm like, okay.
Don't destroy the Indian, please.
That's what like. Does he want me to tell him what Harley did wrong so they don't do that? So we're hopefully going to meet at some point. So yeah, I did infomercials for Harley Davidson. I would love to sit down. Anybody had an honest motorcycle company, I'll tell you exactly what Harley did wrong. And please don't do this.
Which is a lot.
We shall see.
Well, you know what?
It's a staggering amount.
Well, my experience this year with taking the beast to some bike shows and stuff like that is you would be surprised that even now they will walk. I mean, this big, beautiful, chromed out custom machine behind me that nobody can see because there's a friggin' wall right there.
Yeah.
they would actually overlook it because it has to go in a custom class. I mean, yeah, it's custom. It's the only one in existence. Nobody else will ever have one because this is the only one. They would walk past and they'd walk right to what I call the Me Too bikes. Oh, you ride a street glide? Yeah, me too. And they'd be like, I pointed one of them out. I was like, I made the rider itself mad because he walked by and he yelled, he said something about mine. He goes, the only thing special about that's the Harley front end, everything, and I'm like, really? Like, let's walk over to your bike for a second. And we walked over to it. And I was like, let me guess. Smells like a 2017, 2018. And he just looked at me. I was like, let me guess. You got I'll give you this. You got 3 mods, right? And his friend is laughing because his friend knew I was just getting ready to pick him apart. And I looked and I was like, okay, so Vance Hine pipes, Screaming Eagle filter, and you got the halo for your headlight. You're a good little girl. And I turned around, went back to my bike, and his friend's like, hey, you started it, dude. but no, I do still want to build another bike. And I do want to build a Harley, but I'm talking, I want, probably a knucklehead.
I have half a Harley sitting in boxes that I had a frame built for that I still haven't gotten to putting together because I'm out of parking spaces.
You got a front room? What are you talking about?
I got all right, racist joke coming up. Live with it. I was thinking of the guy, my buddy at the bike store. He called me yesterday. He's parting out a bike that somebody couldn't pay for. They don't have any money, been sitting around. So he's like, fine, I'm just going to part of that and sell it. And if I give you an idea, it was a custom bike, and it was purple. So now you know who owned it. Obviously. Sorry. If you're a biker, you know. He also had a matching purple helmet. So now you know who owned it. And it had these really nice, big, droopy-shaped footboards. And he wrote me like, do you want them? Because I've been talking about wanting some custom footboards.
Yeah.
And he's like, do you want these? And I'm like, yeah, they're matching, but yeah, I'll take them. And he wrote me back, well, until at least we find something that white people will put on their bikes. Like, yeah, well, eventually. I like big shiny stuff. I have a Mexican gene for that.
Shiny things like that. Like, you know what? I'm fighting the urge because there's a mess behind me, but I'm fighting the urge to actually pull that out of the way so they can see what the hell we're talking about that's behind me.
One day when we figure out how to move cameras around. But no, the biker joke is that if you see people with color coordinated bikes and helmets and vests in overly colorful colors, they're almost always black. God bless my black biker friends. It's not a dig. It is just, if there's a big ass orange with everything and a huge stereo and the dude's wearing a matching orange helmet, that's probably a black guy. Same thing with the purple. It's just a thing. Like I said, I go to the car show. I go to where all the Mexicans are because I like the chrome. So, but we do make fun of each other for that sort of thing. I guess that's a little internal, but anyway.
Yeah.
But no, yeah.
Well, the Harley jokes with me usually happen. I mean, like I said, I love just like cars. I pretty much love all bikes. I'll go up and take a look at them. Like, that's fantastic. The only thing you won't ever see me riding is a Sidewinder. That's just an abomination with tires. But but I mean, I usually let the guys just give themselves, I let them start it first, and more normally I just tell them, I said, there's a Harley song, right? And he's like, really, there is? I'm like, yeah, it's Harley's, they're the best, ride 1 mile and push the rest. And he just looks at me. I'm like, well, I was like, hey, you guys got to carry a toolkit. I can drive wherever I want.
Which is Harley is the perfect company to convert gasoline into noise without the added benefit of horsepower.
You're right. I do believe there was a couple people that said that one.
Yeah, I always love that. I have that poster somewhere. Uh,
That was
but
Jay Leno, wasn't it?
I love the color. I color coordinate my shit too. But it's just if it's the screaming the green, the yellow, the purple, the really loud solids. That's usually that's a black thing. It just is. It's kind of funny. Um, Mexican bikers or Mexicans that ride bikers, you have tons of engraving, which I think is really really cool because there's a lot of work that goes into that, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
more chrome. Um, you'll see everybody from an actual biker gang. It'll just blacked out as nondescript as possible. But you can tell quite a bit from the people who ride by looking at their bikes, which is why it's fun to go to bike shows. But like I said, I love car shows. You'll always find me in the Mexican section where everything is just shiny and chromy because I love it, and the little pinstriping. But
And mostly overkill. Absolute overkill.
absolutely, totally overkill. Have the little lights and the tassels and the little things and.
Well,
Well,
one of my friends that travels with us quite a bit when we go to shows, he's done that. He's got a car that's I mean, for crying out loud, you know, the bit on his truck, he's got the big chrome louvers and all that stuff. And he pulled up one day in that truck, and we're all just there's three of us outside just standing there just laughing. He's like, "What?" And I was like, "Way to be a stereotype, man. Come on." He's like, "What?" It's like, "I bet that damn thing's got dingle balls." And he looks at me and he goes, "What?" And he opens up his door, and there they were.
there they are.
I'm like, "Come on." It's like, "I love what you did to the 64, but did you have to do it to the truck too?"
I mean, so the other thing that was on that bike, you know, I've been looking for a kickstand because I really want like you've seen the Eagle Claw,
Yeah.
the Eagle Claw kickstand. They're really cool. I just don't want to pay $300+ for them, but they're kind of cool. So this bike also had a custom kickstand. And he's like, well, maybe you like the kickstand too. And I went to look at it and go like, no. It was like a lady's high heel. And like, no, that's a little too Lady Gaga for me. And I'm like, dude, what the hell? I'm like, no.
Well, I mean, I have a lathe that could always make you a willy pee.
That's what I mean. It's like, no, that's a little too no.
You'll have a nice chrome.
I'll wait for the Eagle Claw.
There it goes. Yeah, you'll check your mail one day, and there's going to be a nice chrome dong standing there for a kickstand.
Well, I know it'll pass it on to anyway.
Well, it's one of those things when your friend's not looking, you attach it to his bike and walk off.
Hey, did you know Hello Kitty made sex toys? See, you didn't know that.
Oh man. Okay, where were we? What were we supposed to be doing today? I'm lost.
Something about here's a serious question. Thank God for that. I have no idea whether I know the answer to this. Try to interview with a stuff. I have not, but I was once invited to the to that annual memorial. I don't know what I would ask. Really, actually, honestly, yeah. But there's still some people out there I would love to meet. But so there's the guy in Czechoslovakia keeps telling Magda and her friends that he knows where Kamla is buried, but he won't share, he won't tell. It's dangerous. He said, and that last time he was telling, I can show you the official Czech communist death certificate. He told them, and I wrote about, okay, you just when I see that and the original have the paper dated and carbon stamped, and we'll talk. And gee whiz, it didn't materialize. Maybe next weekend.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If he was just shot or suicided in some forest somewhere, who the fuck made a death certificate? I'm
Right.
saying, like, it's like the stories and the gossip and the BS is just really annoying. Like the back glare. Huh, I don't even. It's
Well, yeah,
so
you
much
did
gossip.
have a wonderful
I had a little
signal
Halo thing
going.
going on there. I know it's
And
but I mean,
thinking about other museum items, I forgot I had one sitting right in front of me. It's a cutoff of one of the banners, but it is I've this is one thing that I have already authenticated. It is 100% authentic. I was kind of worried for a split second, but the reason why I was worried is because it was too awfully clean, and I realized after doing some checking and testing on it and everything that somebody decided to actually wash it. Um, please don't ever
they
do that.
just cut the top off.
Yeah, it was hanging up, and they cut it, and over time, it's actually gotten smaller and smaller. It's gotten closer. Some of the photos that were given to me from the where this came from,
Oh, you have
this
actually a
was
picture for where it was hanging?
yep, and but
Ooh,
it was cut because they didn't want to necessarily take the whole thing because it was one of the long banners. But the people that I got it from, I asked them immediately. I was like, I know by feel and by thread count and everything else like that, it does look to be authentic. But here's my question: why is it so clean? And they're like, well, it's been taken care of. You know, it's been in a glass case and everything else like that. I'm like, okay, that's great. I said, but that still didn't answer my question. Why is it so clean? And the lady told me, it's like, well, we kind of washed it. And I told them, like, don't ever do that. You're actually going to
hmm.
ruin the item itself. Please do
Oh,
not do
God, yeah.
that. um, no, we're historians. We're not Nazis. No. Um, but that's a common thing now. Is I've seen it before where somebody took it. You know, they had a flag and they're like, okay, well, it's a little dingy. We're just going to wash it.
I
I'm
know.
like, it
Or
just it
clean it or
ruins the.
done some things.
Yeah, there's a proper
Uh,
way to clean them. There really is, but don't ever do that
there's
for
probably
multiple
they're not
reasons.
clean. like don't touch them. Just put them in glass and leave them alone.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
I can understand if it was a mess up on your part, but don't
I
do that because
mean,
it really does diminish the item. Uh, and the other thing about that is I'm seeing more and more of these these people, they if you have items like this, okay, and you don't want them anymore, please do not destroy them. Send them to a museum. I'll give you my number. You can send them to me. I would gladly put them in the museum, but please do not destroy them. Uh,
it, we have one of the guys here is trying to get his hand on a collection, an extensive German collection of pins, eagles, knives, swords, blades, uh, all authentic and all in absolute mint conditions. And so he was sent some of them to praise, and then the dude who owned the whole collection, we're talking about a house full of World War II German collectibles, and then he died. So then, what should we do with it? And I'm like, well, maybe I should go help you figure that out. Um, I mean, they're not idiots; they know it's worth something, but also like some of it may have papers, so maybe some of the medals, decoration, we know who'd come from. So I'm like trying to get there before somebody just decides to pocket things as souvenirs and take them home, and then all of a sudden it's all gone. Um, yeah, true, Submarina. Um,
right, and
it's
that's
yeah.
why are they opening my shop door?
I'm just like you look like you're having a stroke out there.
Hold
Go shoot something. Um, and that's the interesting thing about memorabilia from anything, even from the Soviet era. It should still be preserved because you can't just teach. Yeah, you have all these people who are looking at the 5 minute videos, the sound bites, and they're trying to learn history from that. And it's generally all wrong. or it's presented in a way that'll give them all the wrong idea. It's very, very sad. If people knew anything about who the National Socialists were or what Germany were, they wouldn't run around calling everybody Nazis because they have no idea what it actually means.
Right.
Oh
no, they just needed something from the Mr. Toolman here.
Yeah, okay.
They didn't know it was doing this.
Like I said, if anybody knew what the Nazis were, who they were, they wouldn't run around today calling everybody Nazis. They have no idea. They don't even know what the demo stands for. Did you see the video of I think it's called "Liberal Goes Back in Time to Kill Hitler"?
Yes.
It's like you start diving into who actually wanted to do what. Maybe you're calling the wrong side a Nazi. Just saying, maybe you should do a little research before.
Yeah, no, it's a common thing. Like I said, going all the way back to my Edelweiss that's on my arm. Only one person has ever really noticed it and said something stupid. I mean, they looked right at me and said, "Oh, you're one of those." I'm like, I'm one of what? And they're like, the tattoo on your arm. I'm like, which one? Like, there's several, so you're gonna have to be more specific. And like the flower, I'm like, oh, my Edelweiss. Like, yeah, so you're one of those neo Nazis. And I my eyes got real big. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And I went into the history of the Edelweiss, the fact that it's a symbol of my people. I am actually Bavarian. We were there before the Nazis. We're there after the Nazis, kiss my ass. And they're just like, oh, no, that's not you. You're just trying to cover up for it. And I'm like, no, I'm just trying to tell you that you're a complete moron and you don't know what you're talking about. I said, by the way, you want to talk about Nazis? You want to talk about neo-Nazis? Let's have at it. We can sit here in this parking lot and talk all night if you want. Of course, they didn't take me up.
Huh? Of course not. And if you look at who the neo-Nazis traditionally have been, none of them would ever have made it into anywhere near the party organization of the actual National Socialists. They would have probably been locked up in prison by them. But Brett, you're absolutely right. The thing is now, I mean, for years they threw around racist to anybody who didn't want that, and then they threw the term Nazi at everybody, and then you're homophobe at everybody, and you cannot just keep running around and calling people names because sooner or later it just stops meaning anything. It doesn't mean anything anymore.
That's
to anyone.
And that's why I'm actually making a new machine radio show shirt. It's actually going to say on the front, "I'm the phobic ismist your gender studies professor warned you about," with the logo on the back.
God, these people need so much therapy. I can't bear it. But I remember there was, after the Southport riots, and I used that advisedly because it most certainly was a hell of a protest, and it was very merited. And you had videos of this protest where you had Hindus, you had blacks, you had whites, you had Asians, you had Jewish flags, everybody in this protest, and they're all labeled neo-Nazis. And then it sort of became a thing that's like, okay. And then then the memes started coming out with, here's the Jewish guy. I love my country. I'm a Nazi. Here's the Hindu guy. Well, I'm a Nazi. And then everyone's like, well, I'm a Nazi because I love my. It's like, it just doesn't mean anything anymore. It's just the typical left pointing at everything they're doing.
One of the guys that well, one of the guys that I know personally, he's Jewish, and we were in our state capital, and we happened to be walking by, and there was a group of about 5 or 10 people holding up little signs, and he stopped to read the signs, and he goes, "Oh, that's adorable," and we started walking past, and they yelled up Nazis, and he turned around and looked at him, and he pointed his head down. He was wearing a yarmulke. He's like, "Yeah, I'm a Nazi right here. This thing signifies that."
I mean, considering that President Trump has just continued being praised as the greatest friend of Israel, whether you like that or not, calling him a Nazi, considering how much the Jews love him, I don't know. it may be that your narrative is not holding up. But I do take some pleasure when Letitia James, she goes on saying, the justice system has been weaponized against me. Oh, you mean like you did for the past 4 years? Gee, how unfortunate. Right. I'm sorry. It's just not. No, enough. Like all isms are bad. Could we go back to? No, you can't fix stupid.
Right. Well, the same people that say stuff like that, though, I went back as far as as Lenin, and they're like, oh well, the Israelis. I'm like, the who? The Zionists, those Zionists. I'm like, oh god, here we go. And they're like, well, they run everything, and they one person calls, and I'm not joking. I had a greatest hits list for some of the stupid stuff that they said. I'm trying to be new. I'm trying to be good. One of them was calling Google Jawoogle, and anything. It's the only thing that kept playing in my head is that song, from Hitler, Rise of Evil. Blame the Jews because we have flaws. That's all that kept playing in my head. And I'm like, really? Because this person really does believe this. They believe that every single multiple facet of life, no matter how big or small of the problem, is done by the Jewish people. And I'm like, there was these people in history that you say that you don't emulate that said the same thing, right? And I was like, and they're actually used to this. It's been happening for thousands of years. They get blamed for everything. And like, well, you're wrong because the Bolsheviks weren't anti-Zionist. I'm like, yeah, actually they were. And then Stalin started it on steroids.
Yes, there was anti-Jewish programs during World War I. I mean, there's always has been, but
but they mentioned and the group I'm talking about, they called him the Mountain Jew. They made that comment. I'm like, okay, that's all well and good, but do you know anything about those people? Well, I got a photo, and they're holding the Israeli flag. Is like, no, that was the Zionist flag back then, and that group was holding in solidarity with the Bolsheviks because they didn't want to be a part of the other system, and then they found out that system later on was better than what they were going to deal with through Lenin or Stalin. Like, do you guys ever stop cherry picking it and start reading it?
Well, the problem is if you don't know history and you don't understand history, like most people on the left don't, at this point, well, you have to make it black and white. If you have people who are completely condensed down to black or white, they will never understand that the world is gray and full of nuances. And if you're going to incite an idiot crowd, you have to make it black and white. But you can't start subdividing into the categories and explaining and defining. But that doesn't work. You have to have a 10-second soundbite to make idiots go march. That's the way the communists have always done it.
Yeah, and the TikTok level.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead.
And it's interesting because you can always have conversations with them, and that there may be things we agree on or not agree on, but there's no depth to their belief system because they don't know what they believe in. They have to. All they go back to is the slogans, which is. Well, that's what idiots do instead of actually understanding what you're believing, and that's the great danger we have now is we have a completely uneducated younger generation who's been completely brainwashed by the system to believe in a certain thing. And you can't certainly when they say, well, Jews run the world, well, they certainly do not run the education system because they are utterly anti-Semitic. They hardly run the entertainment system or the news media because they are horribly anti-Semitic. So what do they run then? The banks? I mean, who God knows what they're doing. They think that's their own religion. So the EU, the UN, they're all anti-Semitic and anti-Israel. So I really don't know what it is the Jews are supposed to be running at this point. They probably run something,
right? And again. Yes. And again, their whole premise is Judeo-Bolshevism, which was not a real thing. Lenin did not like them. Did he have a few in his inner circle that he used? Absolutely. Did he kill off a bunch of them? Oh yeah. And Stalin's like, you know what? You're all gone.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, how do we explain to them, you know, the you know, the Khazarians, the Cossacks, you know, and stuff like that? How do we explain to them these people? They it's not going to register in their head. It's never going to, they're never going to get off of that whole you know, anti-Semitic vibe to understand the basis of history, even the basics of history. They're never going to.
I love it when people talk about, well, that's your version of truth. What?
It's like, no, it's definitely
there's the
not.
truth, or there's the truth. You can insert different motivations between the people from doing the actions they took, but the actions they took are the ones that are dark. But I mean, I do understand it. If you look back at what Goering said at Nuremberg, is history that no one ever asks the victors if they lied. Napoleon said history is the version the victors agree on. So yes, there's a skew throughout all history books in one way or another, but there's a general red thread about, well, these are the events that we can agree on. As to the whys, you know.
Right.
But now you're looking at the news, you're looking at somebody say something, okay, 2016, before the election, the Trump election. I never really paid that much attention to politics. I knew that Obama was not somebody I wanted, considering what he did to the country. But so I knew. But I didn't think Clinton was a particularly bad guy. I wasn't really a big fan of Bush, but you know, really paid that. I was busy with hot women, cars, and making movies. Okay, I really didn't care. And then I was sitting in my car, and there was a before the election, a quick interview with Trump, just for a minute. And I know it's kind of funny, a quick interview, because there's very few quick interviews with him. But there was just a minute, just 60 seconds. He came up to Mike. He said something, 50, 60 seconds, and then I heard on the radio. And then the lady came on, the reporter came on and said, well, Trump just said, and then she completely misquoted what he said. And it was back to back. And I was sitting in my car waiting for the light to change and go, wait a minute, that's not what he said. He just said completely the opposite of what you just said he said. And that was when the little light went on for me, like, there's something really wrong here. Because I just heard it. And she just said something else. But what was the version that then became predominant is what she said. And now we have an outright lying media that no one's fact-checking. You have politicians that are completely lying about events, 100% stating lies, but the media runs with it. You know, that becomes the facts.
Who's controlling?
Now we have a problem.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You know, along the lines with the politicians and stuff like that. My favorite patsy right now, and I even call him hair propaganda minister, is Hakeem Jeffries. That guy's so full of shit, it's popping out of his ears. He likes it. I mean, just the other day he said, well, the Republicans have swastikas in their offices and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, they don't, but there's one right here if you want to see it, and I'll explain why it's here. But that continuously went. He goes with all this. The guy's crazy. Yeah. And of course, you can't talk bad about him or else. I'm like, what are you going to do? Smite me from afar? Send me a scathing letter? What are you going to do? Cry on my shoulder?
And the thing is, with an honest media's job is to call balls and strike honestly from our elected leaders and tell people the truth about that. Like they tried to do on hammering Trump on that last debate with Biden, where they kept going after him and stopping him, but not Biden. And like, no, we cannot have a media that lies or allows our leaders to lie. See, look at what's happening in England. It is terrifying that you have people being arrested to 27,000 people have been arrested because of the online harms bill so far, because they said something offensive. Oh God, yeah. That's why I'm not filming in England. I was supposed to go and hang out with Drew Kinnefeld and film for a whole season. I'm not going to England. because I spoke out against the grooming pens.
I have too, and in a very direct way. I went directly to the British Parliament website and their and the police department, the UK, police, and typed in there, I'm 1776% sure I can give a fuck what you limey Brits say anymore. So if you want to come get me, your country sucks. You're putting your people in prison for no reason, and you're allowing everybody to walk all over you. And I was like, so where's my vacation? Send me a plane ticket.
It is for every which way a dictatorial country now. Whether if you have no freedom of speech now, whether online with the online ID, Stammer is the closest thing to a dictatorship you have in the West. And there's still one of the reasons the Brits, as far as I remember, wanted to get the hell out of Europe is because they didn't want the unhinged illegal immigration. And that has been force fed into them. The people stayed the same, and they just made it even worse.
Right. And it's
you see it all over Europe, and it cannot continue. Although it is funny, speaking of something slightly less funny and all this that, you saw the robbery at the Louvre, where this gold was stolen in French schools, right? You also saw why, and you saw who was in charge.
Yep.
You haven't seen who was in charge? You don't know that story?
I'm
well, 6 months ago, they determined that there was a woman put in charge of the Louvre, and they needed more diversity. So the head of security is a woman who was fast-trained up to the job of head of security of the Louvre, DEI. Ta-da! Like, great. Wait for your planes to start falling out of the sky because the pilot have to be a transgender woman. Not that I have any problem with women doing their job because they know where the job is, but you're not going to get. And yet, do you see the left, who's all about women? Do you see them celebrating that there's a woman prime minister for the first time in Japan? No. Do you see them celebrating Meloni in Italy being the Italian prime minister through the last year? Like, no, because they're the wrong kind of women. And Lord knows if anybody knows the right or wrong kind of women, it will be the left. So,
precisely.
I mean, they're not about the women. Left don't give a damn about the left doesn't give a rat's about women or women's safety. Considering they keep letting criminals and rapists out of prison, doing everything they can to leave them on the streets, it is absolutely certain that they do not care. And that's what I don't understand, why women of all things do not understand why this is not okay. I don't understand how you can convince young women to vote for a party that keeps letting criminals and robbers and rapists out of prison or not put them in prison at all. That I will still to this day not understand. And that is all of the modern West. Everywhere else in the world, these people would have been hung or would have been hanged. I mean, if you're in the Middle East and you go commit crimes like this, or in Africa, you'd be dead. In China, you'd be dead. But in the civilized West, we're all in favor of supporting and helping and aiding the criminals, the rapists, and the murderers. Poor them, they haven't integrated properly. You insane. And they don't understand why this is going to have a backlash that is going to hit far further to the right than they think.
Well, they made it. Now, and the whole guys that, that if you, there's several flags behind me, but if you fly even the nation's flag, if you say the Pledge of Allegiance, if you do anything like that, then you're an ultranationalist, and that means that you're some sort of crazy dangerous human being. I'm like, do you even know what nationalism actually is? And the first thing you usually hear when somebody says that, when you say that, do you know what nationalism is? They're like, well, Hitler was a nationalist. I'm like, no, he was not. But not in the aspect of what you're saying. I said, no, nationalism is not a disorder. It's not a disease. It means love of country. It means you support your country. And if that makes you, a crazy ultra nationalist, then okay, well, that's what I am.
I mean, he was a nationalist in some sense. He was a German patriot. The problem how that has been abused is now every time you love your country, no matter what country that is, now you're a Nazi. And how the hell does that work? You can't love your country. Now it's basically, but that's what they want. That is the globalist agenda. They want people to not love their countries and ignore this so we can be one gray blob. They want to destroy the country borders like they have in Europe. They want to destroy America because we still love our flag and our country. We can't have that sort of thing. And that's why the Democrats filled it with all these immigrants, because they don't care about the country. They care about getting paid, making money, having a better life that they can from whoever makes that possible, who's they're going to vote for. And to do the same thing in England and everywhere else. You filled these people with, what did the Roman dictator, the Romans, what they did back in the day, people that kept close to them were people that were not Roman, because they were loyal to them, not to the country. And that's what the left has done all over Europe, filled Europe with people who have no loyalty to their nations, to the nation states, to the culture of these nations, and therefore have no problem destroying it. There is a willful destruction of Western civilized culture. That's the only way they can rebuild it into their great globalist mob, when people are begging someone to stop the raping and killing. And that's how the left is the communists have always taken over. That every communist, from Mao to Stalin, whenever there's a communist revolution, let all the criminals and killers out of prison so they can run crazy, so people can eventually be like, please, we'll give up some of our freedoms, just make it stop. And then they lock them all up again, along with half of the population.
Yep.
So
unfortunately,
it's just, and the people, they don't get it, and it's gonna cost. It's gonna be really, really bad, and that's very sad. And then we can sit back and say, I told you so. Well, half of Europe and half of America is on fire, and that is insane that we can't stop this. But anyway,
well, and and just one of the things that pops into mind for some reason is the Venezuelan opposition leader, Maria Machado. Nobody wants to listen to her. Why? Because she's singing the praises of a man that everybody else hates.
They gave her a Nobel Peace Prize because there's no way they're going to give it to Trump, and she gets it and dedicates it to Trump.
Yeah, and they're like, well, why would you do that? He's a king, no king's protest. Yeah, there's some irony to that too, because several people have posted videos of themselves moving to the UK, where there's a literal king.
Yeah. I mean, did you see I think it was Glenn Beck has posted no kings but Christ. Yes. I think it's great how everybody have started trolling the left, and when Trump, he put that up, no kings protest, and he put that up. I appreciate it. I love that you. Thank you for reminding us all that we have no kings. I remain your president. Stuff like that. It's so easy because they're so stupid.
Basic civics. They don't even understand, the differences between the branches and the checks and balances and how things work. They're just like, well, he's doing this. Is it within the law?
You heard this, or was that just a joke? I mean, we do have a president that says a lot of things, which a lot of times is funny or joking or silly or floating good or bad ideas. I don't know. I could see him saying it, but he still refers to Stammer as a good person, which is one of those things that really needs some work. The release of the Epstein tapes and files, yes, they do, if we could figure out who has them. And I'm pretty sure somebody in the CIA probably knows. I'm not sure if anybody in the FBI or Justice knows where they are.
But the hilarious part of that is, they're like, well, Trump is on the list, so that's why they don't want to release it. I'm like, if Trump was on the list, the Biden administration would have unleashed it, because they did everything but, they tried to prosecute him for, 1975 when he pulled the tag off of a mattress. So you don't think if they had direct information to him being on that list, that it wouldn't have been out for everybody? They want the list destroyed. And they probably did before they could the other administration get their hands on it.
The thousands of churches that have been burnt all over, no one cares about, because there's a war on Christianity, and that's just going on. And if you look up the ChatGPT and their human life value system, what life is equal to, you will find that Christians are the lowest rated. It's 10 whites to an African American, and Muslims are the highest rated, which is just the fact that we have an AI that have a rating system that doesn't rate human life 1-to-1 is insane. Man, makes me wonder who is encoding these ideas. And we always talk about, AI is going to be great. AI is going to be whatever the programmers have made it believe or make decisions out of. And that really is a problem. We are not heading for a good direction. We're still talking about this. Yeah, I know. I don't know what we're talking about this. I'm tired, so I get to be a grumpy old guy who just want to love my country and be left in peace. But yeah, there's absolutely war on Christianity. Christians have been killed, persecuted all over the world, still happening. And no one seems to be the outcry. Again, where's the media? Where's the honest media on this? Yeah, a civil war is almost inevitable. Yeah. All right, Paul. Yeah, at some point in time, it's. I know what you mean, buddy. I've been called worse. Yes. You're back.
Yep.
Yep.
One of us
At some point in time, I have to go to actually get something to eat because I'm 6 hours overdue for breakfast.
Well, I couldn't go get a cup of coffee, so.
Can't get them around. Ways I could. I saw them in Belgium at the gas station.
I've got two of them. I got dark chocolate and light chocolate.
They'll have to let her out. Well, yeah. How can they keep Ghislaine Maxwell in prison if there has been no single perpetrators locked up? That still pisses me off.
Yeah,
and also
you would think.
Last thing you said with Trump being on the list of the plane and the thing. There's a lot of people that were doing business with Epstein that were not pervs. I'm pretty sure he also did legit business. I'm pretty sure they're rich people also catch flights on each other's planes and things like that. Get it? I mean, I spent my entire life fighting for the protection of women and children. So I'm just being realistic. Not everybody that'll be on a list or in this reference are going to be a crazy rubber humping Barbie thumper. Okay. There may also be people who are just like his lawyer who sued to clear his name and finally did because he was just there for business.
Right.
There were also legit businesses. Every criminal also had legit businesses. So just
what,
you know,
how do you think he made his money?
But maybe we should talk to the Clintons or the Bill Gates. His wife left him because of his Epstein connections. Maybe has the Justice Department even talked to these people? Did they interview Bill Clinton, who was there a gazillion times? And we already knew he's a raping perv. So, no.
Well, you knew Clinton was going to be involved because the guy can't keep his pecker in his pants.
Apparently not, no. And I'm not like, and if you're a prolific womanizer, fine. If you like pretty girls, fine. And I know that the victims have come out, when you start turning into a rapist, not fine. And if you start become to abusing underage girls, not fine. There's a line. If you want to screw around, fool around on your wife, that's between you and your wife. But when I think
we should bring back, well, in terms of punishment for people that were, touching young girls and little kids and stuff like that, it's like I think we should bring back some of the great things that history has taught us, like the Iron Maiden, or boiling people in oil, or I think we could balance the budget in one film. We just take a pedo, we hang him by his fingers, and we dip him slowly into the oil. After each donation, he gets lowered a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. I we could balance the budget in a week.
However, I know where you're going with this. Raymond, you're right. However, his wife clearly said part of the reason but she left him. She did the interview. You find the interview online was because of his Epstein relation, his relationship with Jeff Epstein. So there's more to it. I'm saying just take the rapists and the pedophiles and just shoot them. Just get it done over clean worldwide, and let everybody know this is the punishment. If you start raping little girls and you or women or children, well, then you will be a picture on the wall like drug dealers have in China. End it and set the trend that you are not surviving if you hurt little women and children. Start with something. Just start somewhere. Do the right thing. And there's no excuse, race, religion. I don't care if you're black or white, a Muslim, or whatever you are. If you cross that boundary, and the thing that has driven me nuts all my life is when I hear these useless judges and start suing judges, start absolutely arraigning judges for letting rapists and killers out with a couple of weeks or a month. It has to happen. But when I hear, well, they're not properly integrated, which is the biggest load of horse I've ever heard. When you have somebody who rapes a 12-year-old girl, don't you think he is cognitive enough to know that he's hurting this woman? And if he doesn't understand it because he's not integrated enough, is that the reason to let him out? That's the reason to let him in, lock him up for the rest of his life. And most certainly after that, kick him out of the country.
Well,
I'm just saying.
that's why I'm saying we bring back some of the children. Yeah, that's why I'm saying we bring back some of the, the good methods of history, and we do these very publicly. Very publicly.
Jim, yes, absolutely. I mean, we need to start punishing criminals for committing crime. That is the only way they're going to stop. And you have all these people that are attacking the ICE agents, and all just like the BLM riots where they're burning down buildings and attacking people left, right, and center. I'm sorry, but if you are, or some of the Democrats that are calling for outright insurrection, I'm sorry, but if they come home if all of a sudden they go out to protest every single day and attack people every single day, but one day half of them don't come home, I guarantee you the day after that, they ain't going to come back. They're not going to. You want peace and quiet and safety? Start punishing the damn criminals. Not going after the people who point out that there's criminals not being punished.
Well, or like when them giving some of the anti-Tifas, the little supposed anti-fascists, giving them sweetheart deals and stuff like that. I'm like, what did they get? What did they give you? A deal means that you have to get something in return. You don't give them a plea deal because, I'll plead to this, and it's a misdemeanor, so I can go back out there and be a prick on the streets again in Portland. No,
done. No, it is infuriating that we're allowing these people to just walk all over us in the West. And that's why the fact that there's the people who are in charge, our politicians or the EU or the UN, are doing this deliberately. They're not doing this out of the goodness of their heart. Like, we have to help. No, they're deliberately doing this in order to pollute and dilute their own country and destroy the borders. This is a deliberate attack on you. They want you hurt and destroyed so you will give up what's left of your remnants of power like they're doing in England. How else could they possibly get digital ID in? Well, no, we have to. It's because of the immigrants. Really? Just kick them out. Stop letting them in. It's not a problem. There's not a big problem. They can be solved without digital ID. But no, let's give you enough trouble and then say, well, we need this to keep you safe. And then we need this, and then we need this, and then we may as well just embed a phone in your ass or camera. It's just, the judges are absolutely complicit. I've seen judgments that make me wonder how these people possibly sleep at night as human beings. And of course, a strong man is going to rise and clean the shit up. And cleaning the shit up is going to look a lot worse than what Trump is doing right now. So that he's doing it in the cleanest way he can, given what he's been dealt, no problem with that. Because what would come after 10 years from now is going to be a nightmare. So I don't know. I don't know how some people live with themselves, except they think they're safe and immune.
Just remember, it's not. It's just an idea. It's not an organization at all. Well, I know one of them said that to me, and I just lifted up my left hand and showed him the back of my hand. And they're like, what? What? And I was like, well, one of those ideas had to have 4 of his front teeth replaced. I had to have 2 of them removed from my hand. I was like, that idea had a physical body. So
It's like
nice try.
idiots. Yeah, that's just idiots. But anyway, before we keep ranting further and further away from military history,
We should get back to what we're doing.
let's redo this again in a couple of weeks, and let's take a look at the museum when you get your camera up and running, and then maybe we can go over some of the Goldman text and figure out what he was actually talking about.
Yep, I am going to be reviewing that. I've already downloaded it, put it in my archive, and that's going to be on my list of things that I need to read this week.
Outstanding. I'm pretty sure there's something intelligent I wanted to tell everybody, but I'm so far gone that I don't really remember where I am or where my food is. So, but we're going to do something next week. CIC. And I'm not entirely sure what we're doing next week or the week after. Now I'm like getting into really long episodes that takes a lot of research that I need to sleep to think about. So anyway, hell with it.
I still need.
I will tell.
Well, we still need to figure out how to do the voiceover one. Get the video together for that too. I keep forgetting to.
Yeah,
I'm good at the other thing. I'm not good at that thing.
I've just been so stupidly busy trying to just doing this. Not yet, but they will be. I'll upload them for you. I just need to get some sleep so I can think straight. That might be able to think straight. We shall see. All right, buddy. I will talk to you soon, and I will see you all soon on the other time of sleep.
See you guys.